Enlivening Musings and the Pleasure Fairy, here to inspire more daily pleasure and aliveness into your life. Amp up your zhuzhiness. Invite your weird out to be loved on for radical self-love, enhancing your life and relationships. Go to crystalfranco.com for free and paid experiences. So many things, so you might want to stay tuned for the next, 3 episodes or something. Welcome to Enlivening Musings. I'm Crystal, and I have so many directions I want to go today, but I am going to focus it in on one particular aspect. I'll get there. I'll get there. Stay with me here. So I was in a Facebook group, and often there's all kinds of different questions posted in there, different things, yada yada, right? And there was this particular question that was posed in this group, and I really wanted to respond to it, so I did. And in responding to it, I ended up having multiple women in my DMs asking for more support, asking for help, asking for tips, tricks, what do I do type stuff. And with everything I read, with everything that I offered in my responses to these amazing women, it boiled down to, I would say, 3 main things that feel really important to me to touch upon in some episodes here. And not only that, but all of these things have been in my sphere in multiple other ways in the last 2 weeks. And so I do feel like all of this is really up, it's really here, it is needing to be addressed, talked about, shared about, all of those things. So, all right, what am I focusing on today? Today, I'm going to focus on stress and how stress is a big factor in people not being able to have the sex life that they are desiring. So, back to that Facebook group and the question and everything, it started out leading into or a curiosity of, can you be with somebody who's not good in bed? And it doesn't matter if the question comes from the person who thinks their lover's not good in bed, or if it's from the perspective of you're being told you're not good in bed. So of course my response is, wow, if this person, because it led into how they're this really great person though, right? So if this person is a really great person, this aspect, the aspect of being a lover to somebody, is easy to teach. And I say that very broadly because easy is so broad and it really could not be easy depending on, right? But if you're with somebody who's so amazing in all of these other ways, then that particular aspect is something that can be taught. You can learn how to be a better lover. You can help your lover be a better lover. You can take classes together. You can explore all of this. I mean, everything in the sphere of sexual play and connection is all that, right? It's all play, it's experimentation, it's exploration. It's not meant to be just one thing or one way or anything like that. So if you're with somebody who's so amazing, of course this is something that can be taught. It can be so much easier than trying to get somebody to change who they be, right? Or to become a different person, or waiting for somebody to become a different person, to be a person you want them to be. This is just a skill, right? It's like teaching them how to paint a room or do something, which again, may or may not be that easy, really, but it's something that is doable. So maybe easy wasn't the right word. But I think you're going to get what I'm saying here is it's something that is doable and worth it, especially if you're with somebody who's a great person and does all of those other things and matches you in all those other ways, especially when we get into parenthood and that type of stuff too, being able to be coupled with somebody who parents well with you. So, of all the gripes and the conflicts and the things that can exist in a relationship, this is something that can be taught, learned, and done solo, together, both, And so it is worth it. Now, back to what I want to talk about though is the stress. So, and that's also a thing I think every single person was with children too. So they were juggling co parenting together. And I think in some of the situations, there were other children too, and other co parenting situations outside of that. So, I mean, we have life factors, right? We have stress. And we have stress just from life itself, right? From working and living and getting our needs met. We have stress within familial relations. We have stress within friendship relations. We have stress all over the place. And we live in a society that even competes to be the most stressed out sometimes. You're sitting there and it's like, oh no, I'm the most tired or I'm the most stressed. I have the most on my plate. And we don't live in a society where it's more about like, oh my gosh, like I have this, that, and the other that makes my life so easy. You're usually hearing people complaining about things and almost competing or battling for who's the most stressed out versus the opposite. Not that we would want to compete and battle for who has the most pleasure and joy either, but we want more pleasure and joy. The world needs us to have more pleasure and joy. The world needs more pleasure and joy, period. And so this stress is a big thing. And what's funny is if we are having more sex, especially if it is good sex and like is satisfying in any way, shape, or form, that combats stress. So it's kind of this catch 22 of when we are too stressed out, we tend to put sex on the back burner. We tend to not prioritize it, and or we also don't feel in the mood for it because we are so stressed out and our hormones are all wonky because we're so stressed out and stress is taking over, right? And then on the flip side, if you would be able to be having more sex, it would be decreasing your stress. So it is this interesting catch 22 that, it is. And so this is why, we really want to start with personal practice. And of course, you can do joint couple practice as well. But it's that personal practice that's going to really help you fine tune your nervous system. And this is why the nervous system is the foundation of everything. Because the nervous system is what sends all the messages. Back when I was younger, I was going to I really loved being seen by a chiropractor. And I was going to, at one point in my life, go down that route. And one of the reasons was because the nervous system tells everything what to do. So when the spine is aligned and the nerves are able to send all of their messages to the rest of the body, to the organs and everything's nice and clear and aligned and getting its messages. The nervous system is functioning properly. And then, of course, being a massage therapist and body worker and energy healer and emotional clearing worker, whatever, all these little titles, right? You start seeing how just the shift from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic nervous system makes such a big difference. And then now, of course, being in this world where I'm looking at the sexual selves, the psychosexual selves, living fully alive, embodiment, all of that stuff. And again, here, the nervous system is the foundation. And so, with our personal practice, we want to start with our nervous system. So, fine tuning your nervous system, inviting those little pleasure moments in. Because, again, life has so many different stressful things. And this is one of those situations where it is this individual basis. Each of those people who messaged me, I couldn't give the same answer to every one of them. There was no way I could copy and paste, right? Not that I would want to. I'm just saying there's no way I could, because each individual situation, everything has its own flavor, has its own combination of stuff, has its own little thing and direction to go. Where do you need to want to start? But no matter what, you want to start with your nervous system and decreasing your stress and being able to handle and expand your nervous system so you can handle all that life has on your plate. So part of that might be finding the areas where you can be saying no, where you can be cutting down certain things, finding the things that you can minimize, right? Or delegate, any of that stuff. Yes, that. It can be whatever, right? This is where it's just individual to you. So much of diving into creativity and curiosity to explore those aspects of arranging your life and navigating all of that. And what I can say though is actually doing practices, physical practices, and utilizing things to support your nervous system physically. So that can be doing things like shaking or vagal toning things or getting massages or other body work, energy work. It can be, even exercise and things helps our nervous system. So knowing where you want to go with that, utilizing different herbs or aromatherapy or whatever it is, right? So being able to fine tune your nervous system and really decrease the amount you're in that sympathetic, stressed, high adrenaline, high cortisol, fight, flight, that whole thing, being able to really drop in, center. Again, maybe it's more just meditation or yoga, things that are going to bring you inward and down, like that energy that's grounding, right? It's that downward. I want to just say Apanavayu from Ayurveda. It's that downward energy. And it just feels so delicious when you get to feel into that. My previous episode was about relaxed arousal, right? You can't really get there if your nervous system isn't prepped for that. You have to be able to experience that inner calm and that peace so that your body knows what that feels like. And then from there, you get to expand it. It's the same with when we feel and experience pleasure. Your body may even only be able to handle oh so much pleasure, and then it starts to freak out. I know I have experienced that in expanding my own pleasure. I hit that edge and it's like, oh my God, I cannot even handle anymore. It's like my body's going to literally combust, right? There's so much energy. There's almost just too much joy, pleasure, ecstasy, whatever, running through my body. It's not going to be able to handle it. Circuits are going to blow, right? So it's similar to being able to experience enough calm so that you get more and more of that, and then your body can handle more of it. And then that is going to break some of those patterns that keep bringing more of the drama and more of the things into your life that keep amping up that cortisol and adrenaline and being in that fight or flight mode. So starting there is the key. I talk about just like being in curiosity and that type of stuff. But it's from this place where you see the shifts happen. So when you're getting into this state of peace, calm, your whole curiosity and creativity in solving those stress problems becomes so much easier. And I've witnessed that over and over and over again in my own life and in people I've worked with, as well as friends, family, right? So just that whole thing, fine tuning the nervous system, increases our capacity to have more peace in our life. It increases our capacity to be able to get really creative with how we want to solve this stress issue in our life. Like, what does that actually look like for us to solve? Because again, it is an individual thing, and we've got to get creative with it. We've got to get curious with it. All right, so sneak peek at the other big points that came up from that question that I'm going to talk about is how sex is definitely super, super important. A lot of times I have said to people it's just as important as sleep, and how important the self love and self touch aspects are in order for us to actually have this fulfilling, enjoyable sex life, whether we're solo or partnered or any of it. So, all of that is what I'm going to dive into next. So, stay tuned for the next episodes for sure. If you don't already, like, follow, subscribe in some way to on whichever device system you're using, go ahead and do that. And of course, these kinds of conversations, again, with that individualistic nature, are just so great to have through the Zoom calls, which is one of the reasons I've wanted to offer like the Zhuzhy Tea Time calls, because people are needing to talk about this. And it's a great place and time to be able to just hop on a call for a little bit and be able to get some of that support without it being like the investment of doing a deep dive in a one-on-one. Tied into that, I want to say, like, if you are somebody who's hopped on there and been like, ooh, I'd love to do that, but I'm never available at that time. I'm always at work or whatever it is. You can always DM me on Instagram. We can figure stuff out. I'm a pretty accessible person. So, yes, I am here for you, and I am wishing everybody in the world more of that chilled out feeling in their nervous system and more epic, amazing sex in their lives. So, cheers to that. Enjoy your day. Mwah. Thanks for tuning in. Share this with a friend to spread the love. Connect with Crystal on Instagram at @thecrystalfranco or on her site, crystalfranco.com. Enjoy.